my name is Marcus and welcome to Tabletop Reviews, where today I'm having a bit of a different thing that I'm doing. I'm having a look at 5 games that I've played, but I don't own. It's not really a full review. Now, I'm gonna give my rating on one of them, but it's not something that I want to do. And I'm gonna call this a part 1, because I might end up playing games which I'm not going to be doing a review of. I don't own, I don't want to do a review of them. And I'll do like a little compilation here, 5 games. Here's what a quick thought on them. No rating or anything, just what I think. Except the first one here, Exploding Kittens, the first one I want to talk about here. I'm gonna try and keep it like as a theme to the games I'm talking about, but it might be different, difficult to do. But the first one, Exploding Kittens. So obviously Exploding Kittens is one of the biggest Kickstarters ever because of the Meatloaf artwork, I believe it's called. And therefore, the first thing is obviously the theme. Just gonna say, I think it's probably thematic. Like, if you know that comic style and stuff, I don't know it. And honestly, I don't want to know it, because it is a terrible game. I really dislike it. I did own it. I wished for it for Christmas one day, like 1 year, and I got it. And that was a waste of a wish. It is incredibly terrible. Really bad game. For me, there's no suspense. Like, is there supposed to be some suspense? Do you want to risk it drawing? Do you not want to risk it? Do you want to skip your turn? This really isn't any suspense. You're sitting there like there's almost no Exploding Kittens in there. I don't care. Until someone, of course, has Exploding Kitten and you're like, did he not? Nah, who cares? I can skip my turn. Just really, and I'm not talking about myself, just I've played this with other people, I've played this with kids, and the only thing that kept them interested was the artwork. The game was not interesting. They're not sitting there and being like, oh, how am I going to play? Oh, I can skip my turn. Oh, I can punish you. They're just like, in this one, in this one. And I'm talking about a kid who I've seen play like Monopoly even, sitting on there and like, oh, I can build hotels. Oh, do I want to build hotels? Like, legitimately sitting, thinking about it. No interest in this one whatsoever. It's really terrible. There's no suspense. You don't think you're about to lose or anything. You're not interested if you're gonna lose or not, because also you're sitting with diffuse cards. Move for the first round. So like, if I get it, I'm just gonna diffuse it. I'm gonna send it to the next person. You don't care. And then you have the thing. It's about not playing. It's about you skipping your turn, going forward. No, I don't want to play. What the freaking kind of game is about not playing? I really dislike Exploding Kittens. As I said, I'm gonna give it a rating. It's a 1 out of 10. It's a terrible game. Really terrible. It's a card game, I know, but I like card games. I like Doom Links. I like Doom on You. I like Unstable Unicorns. I like these card games. These simplistic card games, but there's a game there. There's a reason to play. You have interaction. There's something to do. There's a target. There's an interest in the game. There's just no interest in this game whatsoever. It's I'm just gonna end it there. Exploding Kittens, freaking terrible. Don't buy it. 1 out of 10. It's so bad. I will say I have played Monsters vs. Babies, and I think I'm gonna put that in the next video. I can talk about that a little bit. I like it more. The next game is Century Spice Road, and this one, if we took a look at the theme, it's okay. It's well themed, you could say. It makes sense, you know, you're swapping spice and it's on the Spice Road. It makes sense. Like a trading in the Mediterranean, I think it's called. But it's an okay theme, yeah. What I want to say about it is it's incredibly slow. I've played like 4 people, 3 people. It's incredibly slow. And I think it's very slow because you have one action, but you have 20 different things to do. So it's really fucking slow, and you just, at the end, I felt so unaccomplished. Completely unaccomplished in what I wanted to do whatsoever. Like, you have so many things to do, and you have only one thing to do. And this thing about, like, you build deck building, I've heard some people call it, where, like, you build a deck and it just activates and it rolls off. It just doesn't do that properly, because you need 5 rounds to do it. In those 5 rounds, the board is completely different, and the plan you started with no longer works. So the entire deck building aspects goes out the fucking window, because you can't build a deck properly to it. So really slow, completely unaccomplished. And I want to say, one mistake that I make in like round 3 of something was, and I look at the game, and that's the reason I lost. I made a mistake, and that's not like anything with luck or anything. I made a wrong decision. It's my fault, 100%. But it's in the freaking second round of a 10 to 20 round game. And that one mistake ruined my game. Like, it's like 90% of why I lost is because I made that mistake and I was behind. Being behind meant that someone would do something before me that I was making ready to do, bringing me even further behind. Like, we played 20 rounds everyone. I feel like I only played 15. The other ones had that much more ahead of me because I made a wrong decision. And any game that does that, you can make mistakes, and it could be between you losing or winning, right? But that one mistake in round 2 puts you that much behind. At least what it felt like, that's a bad game. Like, in a different game, the next game I'm going to talk about, the same thing happened, but I could a little bit recover maybe. But yeah, Century Spice Road. I don't know if the Century, I've heard the Centuries are the same, so I don't want to play any of the other Centuries. Because this was just such a bad game experience. Really bad. Good quality cards and good quality components all around. Just a really bad game. Next game I'm talking about is Splendor. And this sort of is the same. It's just instead of spice, you're doing crystals and stuff. And you do one thing per turn. Sort of. Again, I learned this game and I was maybe a little bit delayed and wasn't quite with, but I still was pretty close to winning because I got the game and I could get in again. Because once you only do one thing, that one thing could be getting a bunch of different things. It's a choice between two, really. Buy a card, get spice. And obviously, oh, no, not spice, diamonds. Obviously in Century Spice Road, play a card, get your cards back, choose one card there, buy a card there, get some spice. A lot of things, right? With this one, you have two things, and that's what you're focusing on. You can get 4 crystals at a time, and you can buy a card, and that card then counts as crystals. So if you need 3, then you have a card and 2 crystals. So, and I like that. Now I almost had a really bad mistake, but luckily the people that were around me were like, "Oh, sorry, we forgot to tell you. Here you go." It's the top people at the top. I had saved up, and I could afford one of them. I was the first person to get a hold of one, and I thought I needed a round to buy them. And they were like, "Oh, you get that one." And then the guy behind me, "Oh yeah, you just get it." And luckily we saw it because I was about to get it next round. So, hey. But as I said, it's a lot better because you get more crystals. So you could, in one round, be capable of affording a card next round. Obviously, Spice Road, where you need like 3 or 4 rounds to be capable of affording one of the good cards. I'm gonna stop talking about it, but I'm kind of comparing them because it's kind of the same thing. And I think even if your mistake, like, or you're going for the same one and the other person just is quicker to grab it, it's a lot easier to really quick be like, okay, that card was that card instead. I can do that, and then yeah. So it's very easy, and every time I felt like, even if they took the card, I still had an option very quickly after that. Opposite in again Spice Road, where they take my card, shit, I need 3 more rounds, and that's gonna not happen. So Splendor was a lot more fun. The theme is okay. By the way, I talked about Century. Like, obviously, the game of Century has been redone in other themes, so that's always a drag down for theme. And Splendor, I believe it's been done in a lot of themes as well. You know, Splendor, Marvel, and a few other things. But it's an okay thematic. Again, you're getting the diamonds to purchase cards, which kind of makes sense. And you get jewelers, you can call them. It makes sense. Yeah, it's still a little bit slow until you get going, but when you get going, you get way more going, and you're a bit more accomplished by the end. Because like at the end, I was 1 round away, like he won, and then I was like, I could have won next round. But I don't feel like it's because I made sure it's because I didn't play as well as him. But at the same time, I'm like, I did so good, and I look at the opponent that maybe could have won that round as well, and be like, you did so good as well. Opposite, as I said in Century, where we're looking, you did really well, and we others are so far fucking behind. So, Splendor is better than Century Spice, but I don't think I'm going to play it a lot more. It's an okay game, a bit of fun. Maybe I'll play it if my group wants to play it. I'll be like, yeah, sure, why not? play with more or less players just to try it at that as well. That would be funny. Okay, fourth game, Love Letter. Now we're getting into some really interesting ones. Now, first of all, theme. It's not thematic whatsoever. It's called Love Letter. It's not about writing a love letter. It's about people, you know, courting for the princess. You can sort of kind of say that, but in the end, it's just like have the highest card at the end. Unless you throw out the princess, then you're like out. But have the highest card at the end. That's the game, right? So it's not very thematic. But I will say, we talked about Century and Splendid, which are both one action per turn. Love Letter does one action per turn really well. I think this is how you should do one action per turn. You have 2 cards, and you're sitting there like, I can play one of them and I keep the next one. So you're constantly, it's like you don't really overthink, or you don't think like, oh, somebody's gonna take it next turn or something. You're sitting with the cards, which one are you gonna play now, which one are you gonna keep? And you can kind of bounce off of that. Of course, what I really like is again the mixture of the luck, like what am I gonna draw, and the not so much choice rather than the memory, like being in there, having the ability to predict and see what the others have. Like I try constantly looking at the card and be like, these are the ones that I'm playing. How many have we played out? So there's obviously one that's not in there to make it more difficult, but you're sitting there like, you have a 3. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong, but like that kind of stuff, you know, the mixture of the luck and the mixture of how am I gonna play, can I like see what others are playing, remember it. I really like that. I think this is one action per turn, done really well, and sort of this deductible, not deductible, but that type of game where you have to guess what others are, except here they're constantly changing role, but really one that I thought was really good, and I think it's easy to get into. Like I was introduced to it, was way easily into it, just gotta remember the abilities, of course, the 4 and all that, but a really fun game actually. Love Letter is a really fun game. I might be interested in trying to get a hold of like a Star Wars or Lord of the Rings edition of it, maybe, I don't know, but definitely a good game that really mixes luck and ability, which I really love. And the final game is Bang the Dice Game. We actually recently played this, quite a few rounds of it, and I think the theme in this one is good. Like the sheriff is there and the outlaws. You got shoot the outlaws, the renegade. Sort of also just an outlaw who's a little bit maniac, but I think it's a good theme with this, and it works. And the dice, the things you get from the dice, works with the theme. So of course the thing with Indians maybe a little bit racy, but it's a good theme. And of course it's a push your luck. And whenever I talk about push your luck, I want to compare to Monopoly, because Monopoly is very much a lucky game, with rolling dice and stuff. And the thing that makes something like Bang way better is, first of all, you have the choice. You're going to roll the dice, obviously, but you have the choice of re-rolling how many you want to re-roll. Of course, with Catalyst, you know, what's called a dynamite stick, you can't re-roll that. So but yeah, push your luck, and obviously the choice, like, is there some life here? I've got some ability attack. I want to just use that. Do you want to get more attack? Try and get more life. Oh, I have some arrows already. I don't want more arrows. Ooh, dynamite stick. This constant push your luck element, and the choices of which dice, and you know, okay, I try to keep the attack, now roll a bunch more life. I'm gonna take the attack back and try, and the Gatling gun thing, we played it with the expansion, there was 2, you know, there was the very offensive dice, the very defensive dice. Again, more choice, but again, the luck. You could get a dynamite stick on the defensive dice that you wanted to use to defend yourself, but oh no! Of course, the ghost was a very interesting thing. Now you know, the first round the guy besides me was the outlaw along with me, and he's like, now I'm a ghost, I'm gonna mess with the sheriff, help me out a bit. We still lost, but so that really fun. That's more to the theme. The first thing we were introduced before we played the game was, it's like werewolf. I have to say, it's not really like werewolf. Werewolf is Sure, it's the theme, you know, you gotta try and guess who's who. But werewolf is very different in the fact that you don't see the actions. You just get to know the actions. Which is something I might maybe dislike a little bit about werewolf, but at the same time I see why how it works like that. And I think werewolf is a very fun game. I've played werewolf. There's another one for the list to talk about maybe in another one. But I think this one is a bit more explored, so to say, than werewolf. It's a bit more concentrated in the fact that there's about 1/100th the amount of rolls in Bang than there's in werewolf. It's a lot of freaking rolls in werewolf. Jesus. But there's less rolls and it's more concentrated about those, and then you kind of have an open roll, which I think is very good. You have something to know, so that you know that if someone, you know, gives him life, attacks him, kind of get to know, you know, are they trying to play me? Are they on his side? What are they doing? What's their deal? Definitely. So I've written more explored werewolf, and I think maybe there's someone who's played werewolf and been like, there's a few things. I have an idea here, but at the same time, it's very much its own game, a very fun push your luck game, and I think it's funny. It's so written down. It's very sociable. Like you have conversations. You have like, what are we gonna do? What can I do? And we're joking with each other along the way. So it's a funny and sociable push your luck game. Very good game. I really enjoyed playing Bang the Dice game. That was sort of. That was those 5 games, and I kind of put them in order of most liked, least liked to most liked. And as I said, Exploding Kittens I've ranked a 1. Yeah, okay. You know what? I'm gonna give some Century Spice Road. It's gonna be a 4, and Splendor is only going to be a 5. They are down there. They're not the greatest. I don't really think they are that fun. I'm not. And you know, Splendor I might play if someone asks me to. Century I'm not. I really don't want to play that. And that's what makes the difference. Love Letter and Bang I'm both going to give a 7. Funny games. Maybe I want to get a hold of them myself. I'm not sure, but maybe I do. They're fun games. I will play them anytime. So that was that episode of 5 games that I have played and I have an opinion on. Part 1. I'm going to do a part 2. Don't you worry about that. I will already add 2 more. You know, I talked about Monster versus Babies and Werewolf. Let me talk about those quickly. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I don't have any idea of how much time I've spent. It's like it says over here on the camera, but you can't see it on the YouTube. But I can't quite see it in the reflection that I'm using to make sure I'm center and everything. So unfortunately, I don't know how long it's been. I am hoping it's not that long. I'm looking at the time of when I started. I don't think it's that long, but I'm obviously only dragging out. Thank you very much for watching, and hope you will join me in the next video. Bye.